Welcome back to Mystery Rift, everyone. I am your host, and today we're diving into a pattern that is not just disturbing, but utterly baffling to even the most seasoned investigators. We are focusing on three brilliant, high-achieving individuals, all physicians, who vanished and were later found under circumstances that actively defy logic and every conventional explanation the authorities could muster. This is not your typical missing persons case with simple variables and clear timelines. This is about anomalies, where physical evidence contradicts the supposed truth. Things happen to these men that simply should not happen in a modern, surveilled world. We are looking at a system failure, a tear in the fabric of the understandable. Now, the core of this issue, as always in these patterns, is the contract of safety. These men were patriots, dedicated to saving lives and serving their country. When high-value, critical members of our community can simply be erased without witnesses and without trace, we must acknowledge a terrifying breakdown in our protective environment. The lack of understanding from officialdom on these cases is the terrifying constant. We start with Dr. James McGrogan, a 39-year-old emergency room physician. He was a man who earned his success through sheer grit, but was also a dedicated runner and in absolute peak physical condition. His disappearance occurred during a ski hike near Vail, Colorado, in March of 2012, setting the stage for the strange events to follow. McGrogan was arguably overprepared for the backcountry hike near the Iceman Hut Trail. He carried an avalanche beacon, a shovel, a tent for multi-day survival, and a crucial piece of evidence, a cell phone with extra batteries. The entire area had cell reception, which makes it even stranger that his phone was inexplicably turned off at the time of his vanishing. After separating from his friends, he vanished from a clearly marked, well-worn trail in the snow. Search and rescue deployed everything they had, helicopters, drones, ground crews, but found absolutely nothing. This is the first, chilling detail. There were no tracks leading off that main, obvious path. He didn't just walk away. He seems to have lifted vertically, or simply ceased to be there. 2 weeks later, Dr. McGrogan's body appeared. It was found far to the east of where he vanished, near a creek, in a location that had already been extensively searched by trained teams. Searchers were left speechless. They could not explain how he could have traveled from the point of separation to the point of recovery without leaving a single trace. The journey would have taken 4 or 5 days of extreme, trackless cross-country travel, an impossibility given the terrain and the initial searches. More disturbingly, the official cause of death was blunt force trauma to the head. He was wearing a helmet, meaning the force applied was beyond natural means, or he was dropped from a significant height onto a hard surface. This disappearance suggests that something had him for 2 weeks, and then deposited him back into our reality. The absence of tracks, the previously searched location, the protective helmet failing against a mystery force. It's too much for a simple hiking accident. It implies an external, almost systematic mechanism of removal and return. Next, we move to Dr. John Marshall, a decorated Marine captain and head of surgery for the VA in Spokane, Washington. Another high-value, highly disciplined professional, 49 years old, and a dedicated athlete just like McGrogan. His vanishing occurred on January 25, 2015. Dr. Marshall followed his routine perfectly. He was seen on CCTV leaving the downtown YMCA at 5:33 a.m. for a morning run. He was dressed appropriately with his coat, running shoes, and his iPod with headphones. It was a cold, foggy morning, but the streets were confirmed by police to be ice-free. He missed a surgery later that morning. His car was found at the YMCA, and his departure was confirmed on tape. An immediate search began, focusing on the Spokane River, which runs through the downtown area. Authorities searched and found nothing. Then, on the morning of January 26th, just about 24 hours later, a body was spotted in the Spokane River below the massive falls. It was Dr. Marshall. This is where the case moves into the truly anomalous. The first major red flag, he was found face up. In the overwhelming majority of cases studied by researchers, men who drown or expire in the water are found face down. A face-up recovery is a statistically significant, sobering coincidence that we have chronicled time and again. Detective Cessnick, a highly respected officer on the case, noted 2 things that defied logic. Marshall's body showed no signs of the severe vegetation or trauma you would expect from going over those powerful, churning falls. He had broken ribs, but not the violent battering the water should have inflicted. The definitive proof of misplacement was the iPod and the headphones. They were found inside his coat pocket with the earbuds still attached. If he had fallen into the current and been swept over the falls, those light, fragile earbuds would have been instantly ripped away and lost to the churning water. This evidence suggests an undeniable truth. Dr. Marshall did not fall into the river upstream. He was deliberately placed in the water at that exact spot, shortly before his body was discovered. Yet, investigators could not find any entry point. No broken rail, no tracks, no sign of a struggle. The official inquiry concluded he was not in the water for the entire 24-hour period, meaning he was held elsewhere, just like McGrogan, and then suddenly delivered to the riverbank. This case haunted Detective Sesnick. It had the signature of a non-human, systematic placement, defying the local context. Finally, we examined Dr. Christopher Robert, a 50-year-old chief of anesthesiology in Minneapolis-St. Paul. A self-made man, a certified flight instructor, former firefighter and paramedic. Another dedicated servant, another high-value target for this inexplicable pattern. On December 4, 2015, Dr. Robert left a department party around midnight. He was confirmed to be fine and coherent, stating he was going to walk the short distance back to his apartment for the exercise. That street corner was the last credible sighting of him. 7 hours later, at 7:45 a.m., his body was discovered on the shoulder of Interstate 94, a massive, busy freeway in downtown Minneapolis, right near the Groveland exit. The location itself is an absurdity. A person simply does not appear there. The highway patrol immediately ruled out a hit and run, stating his severe injuries, including blunt force trauma to the head, were not consistent with being struck by a car. They found a body that had suffered a catastrophic fall or impact, but there was no place on the freeway from which to fall. This is the critical juncture. Tens of thousands of vehicles traversed that freeway for 7 hours. Yet, not a single witness came forward to report a body falling or being placed. Authorities even ran newspaper appeals. The silence is deafening and impossible to explain by human means. Where was Dr. Robert for 7 hours? He was reported fine at midnight, but the final ruling listed acute alcohol intoxication, despite no known source for alcohol consumption in the intervening hours. The police admitted they could not determine where the body came from. McGrogan, Marshall, Robert. All runners, all brilliant, all self-made, all vanished and returned under circumstances of impossible geometry. They were taken, and then they were dropped back into the human domain, leaving authorities completely mystified and unable to construct a logical narrative. The pattern suggests a coherence of coincidence that cannot be ignored. The sudden, unwitnessed appearance of bodies in previously searched or highly trafficked areas points away from random accidents or simple human violence. This is where we must consider the extraordinary. The consistent anomalies, the lack of tracks, the intact iPod, the face-up body, the freeway appearance, compel us to ask, what if this is not human action, but a geophysical anomaly at work? We are exploring the possibility of localized energy fields or rift zones at these cluster locations. Vail, Spokane, Minneapolis. These high-value men may have inadvertently crossed a boundary, a momentary temporal slip, where the border between our reality and something else was temporarily compromised. They were exposed to an unknown force that caused the signature head trauma and disorientation. They were then extruded or simply pushed back out of the rift, often near water or transitional terrain, which appear to be the paths of least resistance for these energetic events. This explains the missing tracks, the previously searched areas, and the detective's honest, paralyzing confusion. It's an unsettling yet necessary conclusion. These dedicated physicians were not victims of a common criminal, but of a mysterious external force, a rift, that temporarily claimed them for some unknowable process, only to return them to our world in a damaged and inexplicable state. These three men, Dr. McGrogan, Dr. Marshall, and Dr. Robert, all deserve real answers, and their families deserve respect. We hope this exploration of the anomalies honors their memory. We must keep their stories alive. For those who want to delve deeper into the patterns we've discussed, I encourage you to look at the extensive research of the Canam Missing Project, including the comprehensive books like Missing 411 Montana. The links to find out more are always available below. Keep them in your heart. Keep questioning. And never stop pushing for the truth behind the impossible disappearances. Because until we truly understand this anomaly, the pattern will continue to claim the unprepared and perhaps the prepared. This is Mystery Rift, signing off.